Cleaning your street means everyone begins to clean their street. And little things like that I have found in the 40 years that I was in politics, can make a material difference in people's lives. And I am just very proud that you are saving where I grew up. I happen to have been the Grand Marshal 20 years ago of Spruance Elementary School. It's because the one other guy that they wanted to pick was not around. So they picked the kid who went to Cornell Elementary School. But you know, everything that has been happening positive in my life for the years, and I'm a grandfather, for the years that I've tried to contribute to this city and just be a good and decent person, is because of the street I lived on, the neighborhood I grew up in, and the people that interacted with me as a child and as an adult, when I came back from the Army, and through my entire life. So what you are doing, where 99.9% of the population is not doing anything, is very, very important to the success or failure of this city. So I'm really just here as a volunteer. I spent, you know, the greatest honor I've ever had in my life, next to the birth of my 4 children and my grandchildren, is becoming an elected official in Philadelphia. Because if you ever looked at my background, I'd be the last person in this city that they ever thought would ever graduate high school, let alone become a CBN, a lawyer, and rise to high political office. But that is an example that any child that you see here or in that playground, never lose fact that any one of them can cure cancer. Or anyone who could be a great carpenter, or a plumber, or a police officer, or a controller, or a mayor, or anything. And it's so important for all of us not to forget that. And not to forget that we are all in this thing together. So I'm just tickled pink to be here. I speak in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, in many cases in Washington, about taxes, about economics, about government. But the thing that's so important is that in many cases, people have lost their way. They believe that their contribution, if they attempt to make a contribution, doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. And you are a perfect example of the fact that it's not. It's not. The rise of civic associations and youth organizations began in the 1980s when people began to realize that politically elected officials couldn't do everything. And for them to try to help their neighborhoods, they banded together as a unified voice. And you're banding together as a unified force with a common purpose.